Hey everybody, this is Dylan. I have made pico for you, I've made salsa, and now I'm going to make guac. But I am hesitant because guac is pretty much a pleasure trap all in itself. Obviously avocados are an overt fat. If you're working on weight loss, this is probably not going to be a video that you have much appreciation for. I apologize for that. Please don't interpret my making this video to mean that you should eat guac the same way you should eat pico, salsa, my cheese sauce, things like that. This is a whole other thing, so you gotta be really careful. I make guac like maybe a few times a year. Every two, 3 months maybe, we'll have guac as a treat. And it's usually because avocados went on crazy sale, which at the same place that I bought all the dried chilies from my salsa video, these avocados were 5 for $1. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and make a video about it. So anyway, spoiler alert, making guac is pretty much exactly the same as making pico, but with less tomatoes and a boatload of avocados. Literally everything else is exactly the same. So let's do it. I'm gonna save the avocados for last because, as you know, once you crack those open, they start to oxidize and they'll turn brown over time. And since I'm making a pretty big batch, I don't want them to start turning brown while I'm chopping everything else up. I gotta dull my knife cause I made it too sharp. Dull that knife, dull that knife. Okay, there we go. So those of you that have seen me chop tomatoes for pico, you just take the Roma tomato, cut the top off, flip it, cut the bottom off, come in from the side, and we're just gonna cut through these ribs that hold the core in. This core is fantastic for making tomato sauce. You watch my tomato sauce video, but you want to save this in the dump bowl for your veggie scraps at least. You can freeze these, and when you go to make veggie scraps, you're ready, veggie stock, you're ready to go. And then take this nice fleshy piece of tomato meat, push out any other seeds that are in there, and then we're just going to cut this lengthwise into 3, turn it, and then dice it up. I don't get very picky with the size of pieces, so don't worry too much. And then take your top and bottom, and we're just going to dice those up as well. Cut around the stem like that. And then throw that into your veggie scraps bowl as well. And then we'll just dice up the rest, and we're done. Remember, I'm only teaching you a process, not a recipe. So you're gonna tweak all these ingredient amounts to be something that you like. The important thing is that you know how to do it, and that then you're never gonna forget how after that. You may forget how much of everything, but that's easy because you can just go by visual. You can look at your pico or your guac or whatever, and you can just tell by the colors that you got it right. So handling these jalapenos on the outside is no big deal, but once you cut them open, if you get hot hands and the oils are gonna make your hands burn, then wear some gloves. I've done this so many times that it doesn't really affect me that much. So anyway, we're gonna cut the top off like that, cut it in half lengthwise, and then I'm gonna take a paring knife and I'm just going to core out all of the guts here. The guts have a lot of the spice, a lot of the heat is right in here. So we usually take that out. Sometimes I'm lazy and I'll just leave it in and chop. And that is a very spicy day when that happens. But this is all there is to it. Shake out the seeds. These scraps, you can save a few of them for your veggie stock, but I usually compost these because they make the veggie stock a little too spicy. So like I'll throw in a couple for fun, and that's about it. And then just grab your jalapeno like this, and we're just gonna slice it lengthwise into pieces, turn them all sideways like that, and then chop like normal in the whatever size of little diced up jalapeno that you like. So sometimes I will just go ahead and top and half all of them so I don't have to keep picking up the paring knife, like this. I'm starting to get a little worried that I'm chopping too much jalapeno, so what you can do, and this is especially great if you're just doing this for the first time and you're not sure, is you can chop everything into separate bowls and then not combine it until the end. That is just one little tip. So I'm gonna chop the rest of these jalapenos just into another little bowl so that I can tweak my quantities once I've added the avocados to the bowl. I took out a little bit of tomato too because I thought maybe I have too much, depending on how much this is, because these are so small. We'll see. Next item, let's do an onion. Red onion, we'll start with one. I might put it in a separate bowl too. Okay, next up, let's take some of this cilantro. Let's do like one of those whole bunches of cilantro. And all I do is rough chop this with the knife. All right, garlic. Let's do, I don't know how many, but we'll do at least 6 or 8 of these because I like a lot of garlic. If you like less garlic, use less garlic. You can also use the Costco minced stuff. I usually do this when I'm in a hurry because it's a lot faster than having to peel garlic, but whatever. You can do garlic a few different ways. You can just start by slicing it and then doing it, you know, just the rough chop over everything and get it into tiny minced bits. You can use a mincer and mince your garlic like that. Also, what I do is I'll take this big rock that I found on a beach in Costa Rica, and you can just smash it like that. So now we have nice smashed garlic. Bring it all together, and then I'll just sort of go at it like that a few times. That is a lot of garlic, so I'm going to just start with like half of that, and we'll just see where we are. That just leaves the limes and the avocados. I'll do the limes last, so we'll do the avocados now. But it's really simple. You just take the avocado and you take your knife and cut through. You're going to hit the seed, and then you're just going to push the avocado in a circular like that until you line up with where you were before, and then it'll come right apart. And then you just take your knife, hit the core, yank the avocado, and the pit will come right out. And that can just go in your compost bowl or in the garbage. But here's a little trick, and I don't know if it's just BS or not, but we used to put a couple of pits back into the guac, and it seemed like it would cause the avocados to oxidize less. So you could throw a couple into your guac and mix them all together, and you could try it. I don't know. Who knows? All right, so once your avocado is cut and open, I'm just gonna take a regular tablespoon and dig right in around and pull out the nice meat, throw that into your bowl, and you're good. If you're not keeping track, you're gonna end up with a lot of these little ends of the avocados in your guac. So before you're cutting open your avocados, you wanna sort of grab that little piece and get it out of there, because I hate chewing into a nice bite of guac and then you've got that little piece of stem in there. So I like to half all my avocados first and then grab the spoon and pull them all out of the skins. You can also just use your thumb to sort of pop out the pit. That's really easy too, since your hand is kind of right in that position already. Okay. That is a lot of avocado. So now I'm just going to spoon them all into my bowl and be done. All right, all our avocados are in the bowl along with all of our other ingredients. So now I'm just going to half all these limes, and we're gonna squeeze in these 7 limes. This is a huge batch. I do not normally make this much guac. Okay, so we are ready to put this together. All I do is I take a potato masher and I just hit a little bit. You wanna, when you mix up your guac, you don't want it to just be totally homogeneous cream. You want it to be chunky. You want the avocado even to be chunky, because the more you stir it and mix it, the smoother it gets, and then it just feels too smooth, like some kind of store-bought junk. So I'll just take the potato masher and I'll just hit it a little bit just to start to break up some of the biggest chunks of the avocado. And that's probably good on the mashing. And then I'll use the spoon and just start to mix it together. Start to get an idea of whether I need more of any ingredients. One thing I like to add is a little bit of salsa. This is my homemade salsa, check it out. But I'm just gonna pour a little bit of salsa in, and that'll be really nice. That's looking really nice. I'm gonna add in some more jalapenos and a little more red onion. And tomato is probably good, but whatever. Garlic, a little more. So that's all there is to it for a beautiful homemade guac. We don't make it that often. I was hesitant to even make a video because it is a bit of a cheap food with all of that fat, but that's how it goes. Here are some variations that I've done. Like, you can roast peppers. You can take a poblano pepper and you can roast it in the oven, chop it up in here. You can roast your red onion instead of chopping it up raw. Roasted red onion gets really, really sweet, so it makes a very sweet guac. But you can roast just about anything. You could roast your tomatoes instead of just doing them raw. There are a lot of different ways to make this dish. Stay tuned after the video if you want to see me use my vac master down in the basement to suck all the air out of the mason jars to stop the oxidation from happening as fast, and it allows your guac to last several days. Whereas if you just put it in a Tupperware container or something like that, it would be pretty brown after just a few hours, or especially the next day. I hope you liked the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you're mad at me for making guac in a video, feel free to thumbs down too, I guess. Join us in the Facebook group, Well Your World, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. So the way that I like to keep my guac from turning brown is by putting it into this vacuum sealer. I've pushed all the air out of the jar so that when it sucks all the air out of here, it doesn't pull guac out. This does not preserve the guac any more than a couple of days in the fridge. It still has to be refrigerated. It's not shelf stable. It'll just stop it from turning brown and old quite so quickly. It gives you maybe 3 or 4 days instead of 1 or 2 days. So you can see now, this lid is tight right on there. So that is the hack. All right, later.